do. So today I have my tip for you right at the top, and it's for actors and actresses who are rehearsing. Now, one of the most effective ways, and what it used to be in the before the proliferation of cell phones, actors were recommended to rehearse in the mirror. Now, that's something you still do. You can look in the mirror, you can do your lines, you can run your lines, you can see how you look as you're saying your lines, and that's in real time. I think now, with the ability of these, all of our cell phones with video, you should get yourself some type of tripod. Even on Amazon, they have tripods under $20 that come with phone holders. And I recommend that you rehearse into your phone, record it, and then look at your playback and be critical of yourself. Look at what you're doing, see if you're believable. Get used to seeing yourself, get used to it. Get used to seeing yourself on camera, rehearsing, saying lines, and seeing if there's a way that you can do it better. You can make yourself more believable. You can look more natural. You can look more relaxed. I know some people say they find it difficult to watch themselves on camera. If you're interested in being in this business, you need to get over it. That's crap. You need to get over it. You need to be comfortable and able to look at your performance and see if you can make yourself better, more believable, more relaxed. You know, if you're doing something, I used to have this habit where I would look away when I was doing my dialogue or rehearsing or doing an audition. Now, in real life, that was something from my real life. Because when you talk to someone in real life, you don't stare into their eyes without looking away. No one does that. You glance away for a moment, you might look at something in your hand, you might sip your coffee, whatever. But no one normally, in a normal situation, maybe in an intense situation where you're having an extreme argument, you might stare into somebody's eyes and not look away and don't avert your gaze. But that's something that doesn't really happen in real life all the time. But in acting, they want that. They, especially doing an audition, they want you to look at your scene partner. And if your scene partner is off camera like this, say for instance, I'm looking this way, you see, notice now that I'm looking slightly to the off camera. That's how they want you to deliver your lines. They don't want you looking away. My bad habit was that when I was auditioning, I would fall too much into my real self. And as I'm talking to the character, like I'm talking to you right now, I may look away like this and continue to talk, and then look away like this and continue to, that's bad technique. And my wife helped me learn that. It was something that I had brought too much of my natural self into the role. It's good to bring your natural self into the role, but not the bad habits of your natural self that don't fit the character. And that was a habit that I had to break. And I ultimately learned to break that, where I look at my scene partner. And luckily for me, I never really did that when I was acting, unless it was part of the role. You know, most of the time I spent acting when I was on the set and I'm in a scene, yes, I'm looking at my character. Because when you're there and you're looking at your character, you're really listening. You're getting their emotions. You see it in their eyes. You see the details of them talking to you. And so you can respond naturally. So that's an acting technique, and it really works. When you're on the set, it really works. If you're really listening to the actor, you're looking at the actor, you're looking into their eyes, you're seeing what they're saying to you, and you absorb that information and use it for your reply. So that's what you need to do in your audition. So that's a tip. And the way to learn that is to do it with the camera, is to do it with your cell phone. You can pick up a monologue. There's tons of monologue books. You can pick up a monologue book, grab a couple of paragraphs out of the monologue book, memorize it, and say it, or just even read it off camera, have it off camera, and read it into the phone and videotape it. And then look at yourself and be objective. Be honest. If you have some actor friends who you trust their opinion and you know that they're going to give you the real feedback, you can get their feedback. But you don't, that's not necessary, because the first thing you have to understand, if you don't believe it, if you don't find yourself believable, No one else will. No one else will. And the way to build up that confidence is by doing it over and over and over with different material. You can even do it with uh, ad lib. You can write scenes yourself and say them into the camera and see how you could improve. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. You need to be natural and relaxed. And again, that's the tip. Do your monologues, do scenes, read scripts into the camera, your cell phone, set up on a cheap tripod, and review it. That will make you better. That will give you practice. That will give you the ability to audition effectively without the nerves, without the second guessing yourself, and be confident that what you're delivering is the best that you can do for that role. So that was my tip for the day. Rehearse into your phone. So today what I plan to do here on my list, I'm going to create some more shorts. I am going to edit a video that I shot and probably make some shorts out of that. And also some other stuff for my video production business I'm going to work on today. I have some time before I get the additional scenes from that feature film I'm working on. So I'm going to use that effectively today, and I'm going to do some work on my video production business. And I'll talk a little bit about that real quick. I just submitted a sample. I think I mentioned it to you. I mentioned it to you a few videos ago last week. I was asked by a potential client to submit some samples. And this is something that I do it only with clients who I think there's a high potential that they will like my work, and my investment of working for free, which I don't like, but it's part of sometimes it's part of winning the client over. And you have to make those you have to make those decisions whether you're going to do it bit by bit. And sometimes you want to research the client and see if this client is on the up and up before you do a free sample. Because a lot of clients nowadays want to do what's called a test edit. And I've done it a number of times. And a lot of times I've turned it down because I feel that the client, we won't be a good fit. Or if I see red flags, remember I did my red flags video. If I see those red flags, I don't ignore them. Because a nuisance client is not worth it. Sometimes I will, in the past, and I always have to check myself when I'm trying to decide if this is a client I should work for. That's one of the beauties of working for yourself. You can pick and choose, but you can't pick and choose out of desperation. If business is running slow, sometimes you're tempted to take a nuisance client, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. After you've done, if you're on your own, if you're an independent editor and you've worked with a few nuisance clients, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's not worth the hassle, because no matter what you do for them, they're never satisfied and they always want more. And if the client is a high ticket client, then sometimes it's worth it. I've worked with a number of high ticket clients in the past, and every time they make changes, I bill them. And so it's worth it. When you're working with small clients and they tell you right up front, oh, I only have X amount of dollars, or maybe it's a flat fee situation, which I've done in the past, and I try to avoid those nowadays. But you have to be careful. Don't pick clients or accept their work when they give you these red flags. That's just a little tip, a little bonus tip. But again, I'm working on, I just turned in a sample and I didn't hear anything back from the client. So that's a bad sign also, because any client that's professional and reputable would even just send you an email, oh, thanks for your submission, we'll keep you on file. But I didn't hear anything back. And I kind of got a few red flags from this client in the beginning. But I went and did some research on the client, and then I found out that he was working on a mission, a nonprofit. He was working on a mission that was interesting to me, was something that I would like to help out with. I mean, from a client point of view, I believed in his mission from what was on his website. So I decided to go for it and, give him the benefit of the doubt. So I did the sample and didn't get feedback one way or the other, which is, unprofessional. But again, it's probably a good sign, because nuisance clients are not worth it. they're not worth it, especially when you know up front that they have a limited amount of funding for what they want you to do. So just a little bit of wisdom there. When you're starting out, sometimes you're gonna run into clients that are going to be problems, and you have to deal with them professionally, because that's going to help you as you build up your business. Word of mouth is really important. So you want to have a good reputation with all your clients, even the ones that turn out to be a pain. And sometimes you might have to pull the plug. You might have to pull the plug on the client, but do it professionally. Do it above board. Don't just ghost them, as they say in the modern world. Don't just disappear. Do it professionally. If you decide to walk away, do it in writing and tell them why. And finish what you have done up to that point. And if there's any more payments, you tell them that those payments aren't required because our business relationship is going to come to an end. And it's, you make it clear. So that's just a little bit of tips. So what I'm going to do now, get back to my editing and probably try to jump on here again later this evening and give you guys a wrap up on the work I've done. And again, before I go right now, if you haven't seen my channel, please follow the links below. Look at some of my playlists. I appreciate it. Share it if you know someone who might be interested in acting, directing, or editing. Mostly I talk to new people who are getting into this business. I've been in for over 35 years, and I have a lot of knowledge that I love to share. And one thing that I do different than a lot of people, I talk about my mistakes so that you can avoid them. And I'm open with you. I tell you what works and what doesn't work. And if you're working on a project and you have some questions, you want to bounce them off somebody, feel free to see my email below and shoot me an email. I've been answering some emails lately, and I appreciate that. And I will see you probably later this evening, depending upon how the day goes. Sometimes when I do a lot of work and then I get to the end of the day, I'm like, I don't want to get on here if I don't have some good information for you guys. My goal is to always give you a tip right up front, something that can be helpful. So thanks for stopping by the vertical live stream. I love that. James Adam Tucker, unedited. You can follow my link right down here. Subscribe if you haven't. And then also watch some of my playlists. You guys have been helping me out, and I do appreciate it. I will see you later on today. Have a good day.
Okay.
You found something?
Yeah. And I already got